Okay, so this is the story that just came up. Thanks to CSL for popping this in our chat for it. Exclusive. House ethics probe of Gaetz seeks information from DOJ and woman who allegedly had sex with the congressman as a minor. This is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The reality is the Republicans run the House and they run the ethics committee. And if this motherfucker hadn't pulled the ripcord on McCarthy, I don't think they'd have bothered looking. I think they would have continued to slow walk it. I mean, there's an argument to be had, and it's reasonable. I'm open to it. That one of the reasons why Gaetz pulled the ripcord on McCarthy was to slow down the function of the Republican majority, so that this ethics committee would grind to a halt. Because if the government shut down, you can't exactly have. I mean, we might lose the Hunter Biden thing, but it's not going anywhere, right? But you also, the ethics committee isn't going to be able to meet if the government shut down. Now, is it? And it's kind of curious that this motherfucker can stymie an investigation into himself. And you start to get an idea. Santos had vengeance too. Nancy, you might be onto something. You start to get an idea, though, why a bunch of these motherfuckers hate the FBI so much. Nina says, what's FAFO? Fuck around and find out. That's what FAFO stands for. Also, snafu means situation normal, all fucked up. Just in case somebody needs a primer on those terms. FAFO, fuck around and find out. Snafu, situation normal, all fucked up. Which is a military term when everything sucked. Yeah, FUBAR, fucked up beyond all recognition. That's, yeah, does everybody know it? Yeah, I guess they do now. That's what FUBAR means. Fucked up beyond all recognition. Right, there you go. Yeah. So, yeah, FUBAR is pretty great. FUBAR and snafu are pretty terrific. So, the Gaetz foul, that's terrible. Don't attach my name to this prick. So, while I am very happy, while I'm very excited that they're finally going after this scumbag, and just this creepy, douchey, bro politician prick who has the only endearing, the only endearing trait of him at all is that sometimes he kind of disappears. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? There were a period there where we're like, we're not hearing a lot from him. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's trying to hide, he's laying low, right? But, ugh. All right. So, this is CNN talking about this.
Sources say that the House Ethics Committee investigating Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida has now reached out to the U.S. Justice Department and to a woman with whom the congressman allegedly had sexual relations when she was 17 years old. Allegations that Congressman Gaetz denies. We should note.
Allegations that he denies. He does not. Well, maybe he denies the election as well.
Congress
learned that from Tango and Cash, did you? That's great.
Gaetz has never been charged with any wrongdoing here.
Yeah. But his running buddy who made fake IDs for girls and talked to him on fucking Venmo about paying for these girls, who that dude was engaged with fucking underage girls and moving around and providing them with drugs. That motherfucker is in jail. So it's just you know what I mean? It's like Trump just hung out with Epstein for 2 fucking decades. He had no idea. That's it. Yeah. And then Gaetz hangs out with Joel Greenberg, who's printing these fucking fake IDs and leveraging his job as like a tax investigator or whatever acting. He wore a fucking badge and a gun, and like scaring chicks into thinking he was gonna fucking arrest him or some shit like that. That guy's in fucking jail right now. And these dudes used to hang. But it's just, come on. I mean, who doesn't have a friend who's in jail for making fake IDs for underage girls that you Venmo'd hundreds of dollars to, and for stupid, for tuition and shit like that? Get the fuck out of here. Yes. Girls. Yikes.
CNN's Paula Reed has this exclusive reporting. Paula, what have we learned?
So,
Well, apparently, Matt Gaetz, for those of you that don't know, induces vomiting in almost everyone that speaks to him. And they've decided to check with the DOJ if any charges have been filed, if we can get any of them out of the bathroom, because they've been reading his the charges against him, and most of them can't keep their lunch down. They've lost a lot of weight. They're getting groggy and bleary-eyed.
Dave, we've learned that the House Ethics Committee investigating Congressman Gaetz has done a new round of outreach to potential witnesses, including a woman who was still 17 years old when she allegedly had sexual contact with Congressman Gaetz. We learned they have also reached out to the Justice Department, asking for materials from its years-long investigation into.
Also, for the record, this is allegedly, and I will say allegedly, for legal reasons, it is alleged, amongst other things, that this is the girl that he and Joel Greenberg, I guess, gave ecstasy to while he was, quote unquote, crushing Viagra and pounding energy drinks so that he could, quote, go all night. You have to give ecstasy to the girl. She doesn't want you to go all night. She doesn't. Just the fuck.
The congressman, where they examined these allegations of possible sexual contact with a minor, along with other crimes. But as you noted, they did not ultimately opt to charge the congressman. Now, in response to our new reporting tonight, Jake, the congressman says, quote, those allegations were not true, have never been true, and the people who spread those lies have been exposed, indicted, and imprisoned.
No, they haven't. And the guy you were with, who he was like Venmo messaging with, is in jail right now. But according to his testimony, all that shit happened. And he's in jail because of his part in it. The weird part is, why didn't Matt Gaetz go right with them?
Remind us how we got here, Paula.
Well, some bunch of dickheads in Tallahassee thought that Matt Gaetz' dad, being a fucking whatever mayor of Tallahassee or the head of the Republican Party for a period of time, thought electing a confirmed bachelor with a Cuban boy that he sort of adopted living in his house, and the alleged beard lady he would later marry, electing him to public office and making him a congressman was a good idea. I think that's pretty much. Does that bring us up to speed?
So back in late 2020, under Trump-appointed Attorney General Bill Barr.
See? Coward. He was afraid of being impeached. That's why he didn't.
They opened an investigation at the Justice Department into whether Congressman Gaetz or his associates may have had sex with an underage girl, the woman who just received this outreach.
First, I would just like to put in the little asterisks. That this curious to hear what the conversations, bringing the people that had a conversation about Matt Gaetz wanting a pardon. He was asking about a pardon. If any of this stuff came up as part of why he was asking for a pardon.
Now, this expanded over several years to include also looking into allegations of possible lobbying violations, sex trafficking, and even obstruction of justice. But ultimately, as we've said.
Good God. Kudos to CNN for literally finding the creepiest, palest, most vampiric, fucking squat-faced shots of Matt Gaetz available on the internet. Ugh.
That Congressman Gaetz was not charged, though his associate Joel Greenberg did admit to multiple crimes, including soliciting and having sex with that minor.
You mean the one they texted back and forth about? Hey. Remember the days, I don't know if you guys remember this, it was a long time ago. Remember the days when a congressman being caught texting with a dude who had sex with an underage girl about how they both knew her and yucky yuck, that would be enough to get them through. Remember, there was a time, were we ever so young, many years ago.
The Ethics Committee had its own probe starting in 2021 into the congressman, but then put that on pause to yield to the federal investigation. But after the federal investigation wrapped up last year, this was all revived. But this revival has not been without serious political consequence. Gaetz privately blamed former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy for reviving the ethics probe. And the former speaker has also blamed Gaetz's frustration about the ethics probe for, Gaetz's work to try to push McCarthy out of his position. But we see
what I fucking say. That I don't have an inside line to the fucking Republicans. But what I say. What did I just say? What I say. God, nailed it again. That's right. Thanks, Professor Funbags. Just we're
even in a post-Speaker McCarthy world, the ethics probe not only continues, but appears to be ramping up.
And do the people that the Ethics Committee reached out to, do they have to comply?
We don't have to comply with a voluntary request for information, but then you do risk the possibility of a subpoena.
Right.
Now, when it comes to the Justice Department, this is certainly not the first request for materials related to a sensitive investigation. Now, they are usually reluctant to just hand over files, particularly in a case like this. They may, depending on the request and the appropriateness of the request, be willing to engage in some sort of accommodation to give the committee some materials, but it's unclear exactly what they're looking for.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The DOJ... Well, here, hold on. I'll just, fuck it. I'm just going to look it up. Hold on. I'm in the chat room. I'll talk amongst yourselves for a second. Here you go. Let's see. Fallout. Yeah, here you go. So this is, where's this? How long is it? Yeah, it's 2021. Okay, here, I'll show you real quick. So, felt like a setup. WhatsApp chat shows Gaetz ally scrambling to contain fallout. The Florida congressman's wingman said he was paying legal fees for the former teen at the center of the case. This is 2021. The feds are closing in. Rep. Matt Gaetz' friend Joel Greenberg was in a panic. The Florida County tax collector was 5 days away from a federal indictment for sex trafficking involving a 17-year-old. The same one Gaetz is now being investigated over. So Greenberg, and this is 2021. This is right, this is right after Trump leaves office. What was the date on this one? Yeah, this is March. Or sorry, April. Beg your pardon. Let's see. Last year, according to WhatsApp chat shared with the federal investigators and obtained by Politico, he fumed that the prosecutor should be fired. He suspected that a political consultant was the rat here. He fretted that investigators had combed through his Venmo Cash App history, which was public. Good Lord. Fearing it led them to the former teen at the center of the case. Gee, you think? Greenberg also said he was paying the legal fees for the woman who is now 21 years old. WhatsApp messages shed light on key aspects of the scandal consuming the Florida Republican and close ally of Donald Trump, and on the state of mind of the man Gaetz once called his wingman, and as he sought to manage the fallout. Greenberg went so far as to push Gaetz to use his influence with Trump for a pardon. Yeah, he's like, get in line, sister. According to two sources familiar with the discussions, including one who heard Greenberg say it repeatedly. Asked about the request from Greenberg, Gaetz previously declined to confirm or deny that it occurred. It's because there were witnesses. But the congressman said he did not ask Trump to pardon Greenberg. Gaetz could be reached this weekend to discuss the WhatsApp messages that are the subject of the story. Really? It was just busy that weekend? It must have been a busy weekend. We'll have to go look up. I wonder what he was doing that weekend. It must have been a lot. Gaetz' allies now fear that Greenberg is preparing to strike a deal with prosecutors to deliver Gaetz, who has consistently denied any wrongdoing. The congressman has not been charged so far. No evidence has surfaced against him beyond anonymous allegations he had sex with a minor or paid for prostitutes. And the messages back and forth between him and the dude that are basically code, where we're all supposed to be fucking naive again and pretend we don't know anything. Oy, God. So, who built a reputation as one of the staunchest defenders of Trump and realized attack the very department of the Justice Division. Okay, Greenberg faces decades of prison time from a total of 33 different charges, including identity theft, a host of financial crimes, and stalking a political opponent. He falsely smeared as a pedophile, but the alleged sex trafficking, the irony, isn't it always funny that way? It's funny that. And I would like to say one thing about Joel Greenberg, for those of you that are wondering, and I'm sure there are a couple of you, he's not a drag queen. Just for the record, never that we know of. I'm sure there's a chance that footage could come up and throw a monkey wrench into my entire argument, but at no point have we ever. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Sex trafficking of the former 17-year-old is the most serious charge. Carries a 10-year mandatory minimum sentence. Paying for a vintage 99 to retain a lawyer. I'm paying for vintage 99. Fuck, because she was born in 1999. Motherfucker. Greenberg wrote in the WhatsApp chat to a friend who discussed the messages with Politico on a condition of anonymity. They, federal agents, contacted her and wanting her to talk. She doesn't want to talk to them. Nor does she want to talk to the press. She blocked a Politico reporter on social media and her iPhone after she was called and texted to discuss the case on Monday. Her attorney couldn't be reached. Politico is withholding her name because she is the alleged victim of a sex crime. Greenberg's defense attorney, Fritz Scheller, and his client is not paying anyone else's legal bill that he's aware of, and noted that he couldn't speak to Greenberg's arrangement before Scheller began to represent the defendant in December. Scheller suggests his client might cut a deal. I'm sure Matt Gaetz is not feeling very comfortable today, Scheller said after a hearing last Thursday. And there is, I don't doubt that after he's already been sentenced, because fuck this guy, that they also said, all right, but if you want to start peeling away some of your time, now you start working with us. And he was holding out, maybe in his dumb ass, Greenberg in particular, his dumb ass is holding out so that if Trump gets back in, maybe the cavalry will come for him, right? Anytime, yeah. Probably they're interviewing everyone. In the WhatsApp chat obtained by Politico, Greenberg told the friend that his attorney at the time informed him that everyone is going to need a lawyer, but the friend then called Greenberg's attorney and determined that Greenberg wasn't telling him the truth. I have nothing to do with any of this. I think it's incredibly uncool. You're trying to lawyer me up as part of it, Joel. And right, not fucking cool. The friend told Politico that Greenberg's message felt like a setup. It might have been the case. He's not wrong. They will sometimes, in the deal making process, get you to start texting some of your compatriots or your partners in it, or calling them, trying to get them on a wire. That's an age-old law enforcement technique that works like a fucking charm sometimes. And this other friend who wasn't involved in it was like, eat shit, I guess. It's the same. And again, what's the level of involvement if you're friends with Greenberg? Yikes. It's the same playbook he used against the teacher he falsely smeared as a pedophile, and he'll do the same thing to Gaetz if he can get less prison time. Yeah, it'll only work, though. He'll only get less prison time if he can actually substantiate it. I know Joel and Matt paid for some of their bills, rent, tuition, things like that. This is a thing that happens when you're successful and you have these relationships. Are we not supposed to help these women who mean something to us that we care about? Is that prostitution? Maybe if you're a Puritan, said the friend. I mean, they're arrangements, right? And yes, it is, by the way, especially if you dope them up and they're underage. They're girls. They're not women. They're girls. They're girls. Ooh. Fuck off. So anyway, so that's apparently Gaetz is in some kind of deep shit in that regard. So yay.